everybody. So today is a little bit of a different type of community meeting because we're going to be going over the different phases of our reopening plan and really just making sure everybody's on the same page about what our plan is at this point. We're excited because things have sort of shifted and changed in LA County, which allows us to be sort of thinking a little bit broader about how we can bring students back to campus. There was a time just a couple months ago that we were like, it's probably not going to happen. And so things, as you know, change very quickly. And so we just want to share our plan and communicate with you all about what it is at this point. Also acknowledging and knowing that things change very quickly. So we're gonna just go, we just wanna communicate with you guys so everybody's in the know about what the plan is and all the moving pieces and that kind of thing. So, sorry, all these beeps. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen just now and I'm gonna go through some of the slides. At the end of our presentation, I do want to acknowledge our scholars. Again, those students that have really keeping their grades up and engaging in school and showing up and really connecting with their teachers and other students. So I wanted to highlight those students as well. And then I also wanted to remind you guys, today is the deadline for the grade extension. So if you were receiving an NY at the progress report period, we extended that time to increase your grade for 5 weeks. Today is the end of that 5-week period. So just reminding you to make sure that you get your work in and that you're communicating with your teachers if you did turn things in, because today is the deadline and those grades will be changed tomorrow. So if your grade did go up, they will be changed tomorrow. If your grade did not, you did not turn in any work, then you will end up most likely getting the grade that you had at the report card period, which many of those were NY, so that was no credit. So that means that you have to take that class over again in a lot of circumstances. So hopefully you guys all took advantage of that 5-week grace period and turned in assignments and got your grades up, so that way you can pass the class. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go through the different learning models. Let me see here. Present. All right. So just to remind you, the Academy's mission is to foster meaningful growth in the intellectual character virtues in a thoughtful, challenging, and supportive academic environment. So everything that we do, all the plans, we're always thinking about how we're doing things with a lot of thought and being really thorough with our thoughts, and thinking about you all and making sure that what our plan is attending to your needs. We also want to maintain the rigor of our program and just making sure that it's engaging and interesting and meaningful. And then we want to put all the supports in place because this is a crazy time, and we know that a lot of people are going through a lot of different things. So we put those support systems in place as well. So that's what we're thinking about at all times when we're coming up with these new plans. And then just, we're deliberately making these choices. So this presentation really does highlight the health and safety of you all, everybody in this Zoom meeting. So our teachers, our staff members, our students, and the families of our school. We really want to make sure that health is prioritized. And that means putting safety protocols in place and really being thoughtful and reflective on our process. Oops. So we don't just make these decisions alone. We really do consult with the CDC, what they're telling us, with the county, with the Department of Education. We're constantly, Mr. McGrath and I are constantly attending meetings with the county, with Los Angeles County Office of Education, and learning about all the new things that are coming out to make sure that we're just in the know about all the changes and then implementing all the safety procedures and guidelines that we're able to do to keep our school safe. So if you want more on this information, this is actually a link, and we did send this presentation to everybody last week, and it's also posted on our website. So if you do want more information, you're able to click on that link. So way back when this first started, we really had to center ourselves and said, what are our guiding principles? So these are the guiding principles that we use for our distance learning program and into also the next phase of our learning model. So this is the dates. This is what our plan is. So right now we're really collecting a lot of feedback, and I have the surveys also in this presentation too, which were also sent to all of you. We really want to hear from your voice. So we need to know what you guys want, what plan that you're looking forward to, what feedback, how you're doing, what supports we need, so we can put all that in place for you. So we need to hear your voice, and through this survey is a really good place to do that. So there's a parent and guardian survey, and then there's also a student survey. So please make sure that you complete that. Then on March 8th, which is already coming up next Monday, we've selected different groups of students from our campus, and we're inviting them to come to campus for just like a couple hours a week right now, just to get that in-person support and to help them get their assignments done. So there's select student groups that have been chosen, and they've been notified already. So they've been called from our different staff members and invited to come to campus during that time. We also are looking at the student responses and seeing which students are interested in attending those programs. So again, that's why it's really important for you to fill out that student survey and let us know if you want to be included in one of those support groups. We might be able to make that happen for you. Then what we're going to do is on March 29th, all the teachers are going to come back onto campus and be practicing with our technology and our classroom space, and they're going to be teaching their Zoom classes from their actual classrooms and practicing all that side of the hybrid model without students there at that time, but really making sure everything's running smoothly. And they're going to be going through all the safety protocols and things too, receiving training on that as well. And then on April 2nd through April 9th, we have spring break. So everybody gets to have a little clear space time. And then we're going to bring everybody back on April 12th. And let me go through how that looks. And through this whole program, this whole time, we actually are still continuing to offer free lunch to anyone that needs it. So make sure that you take advantage of that. And this information is also posted on our website at the very top where it says updates. You click on that, and then you click on lunch information, and this is on there. So these are the different phases of our plan. So again, we started back in last year, really, with I should say 318, I think. We started with our distance learning plan, and then we're going to now add this small group addition to the distance learning format. And then starting on April 12th, we're going to bring everybody back, and that's in a hybrid format. So it's not everybody on campus at the same time. There's going to be two different groups of students. There's going to be an AM group and a PM group. And then there's also the distance learning option. So the AM group would come in the morning, and then they're going to leave in the middle of the day, and then we clean and organize, and then we have this PM group come. That's what the current plan is, depending on interest and all that stuff. And then, so hybrid full day probably won't happen this year, and definitely everybody on campus at the same time for full day will not happen this year. So we're really focusing on this phase 2. So this is what we've had. This is our current schedule, which you're all familiar with. And this is what we're going to, this is the small group schedule. So for those people, these are the different groups. We have the academic support tier, we have EL students, we have students that have RSP on their schedule, and we also are inviting our freshman class, because a lot of our freshmen haven't even been on campus before. So we're gonna start with them coming on campus, getting familiar with that before we welcome back the other 3 grades. Just to remind you as well, we have our online office hours are still available, and all of this is on our website as well. So these are all the different times, and on our website, all you have to do is just click on this icon, and then you're able to go right into that Zoom meeting for that time. So this is how we maintain support during our online distance learning process. So this is the phase 2, and this is what's going to be starting on April 12th. So as you guys can see, there's the AM group, and then there's the PM group with that break in between for cleaning. There's also a break for clubs. So for those students that are meeting on campus for clubs, they're able to do that in a small group, and again, socially distant. But, and then other students will be able to take their lunch and leave campus, while the other students are coming on, getting their lunch and being able to eat before class starts. So that's going to be this like, transition time, again, where we're cleaning and sanitizing. And so those two groups, they don't interact with each other.
Wait, so is this optional or no?
What was that?
Wait, so is this optional or no?
Oh, I'm going way too far here. Sorry, you guys, I don't know what's happening to my mouse. I'm going like wacky here. Hold on, give me 1 second. So the question was, is it optional? Yes, we have, you'll, in that student survey, you'll be able to choose if you want the AM group, the PM group, or if you want to maintain distance learning. So that is a choice for you. But what we ask is that when you do make that choice, that you stick with that choice, because we can't have too many moving parts. You can't be like, oh, I want AM. Oh, I changed my mind. Now I want PM. Oh, now I want distance. Oh, now I want AM again. So we want to just make sure that once you commit to a certain AM group, distance learning group, or PM group, that unless there's a structural change that happens, but that you stick with that group, because that it's depends on the cohorts of who's together and what groups are together and who's interacting. Mr. McGrath, can you maybe talk a little bit about how we've prepared the school and like the different safety protocols that we've been putting in place?
What's the time for the AM and PM group?
I'll put the schedule back up. Just give me 1 second. Let me get this going again.
Yeah, while you do that,
Okay,
Ms. Sanders, I'll go through some of the safety protocols. Ms. Sanders already alluded to that we have looked everywhere, from federal, state, other school districts. Safety has to be our #1 priority to do this right. Because what happens is, and probably some of you have heard, especially in schools down in Orange County, is that when there is an outbreak at a school, then things get shut down. We have to revert back to distance learning in some way. So we spent a lot of time putting together a comprehensive safety plan. And if you're interested in the full 30-page document, you can go to our school homepage. At the very top, it says COVID-19 safety plan. You can click on that. I'm going to spare you guys 30 pages of information and try to stick to 4 minutes. Somebody wants to time me. So first thing that you'll notice as soon as you come to campus is that before you can even enter campus, there's going to be a screening protocol. And what that protocol means is, 1, you're going to have a temperature check. 2, you're going to be asked a series of questions. You're going to take your phone. There's going to be a QR code. You're going to pull up on your phone and type in the answers to some questions about how you're feeling, whether you want lunch that day, etc. And that will then get you into campus. All those screening protocols, you probably already, if those of you who've gone to the hospital or other places, they've been fairly standardized. But we really need to make sure that we're not letting people on campus that may have COVID-19. So one of the biggest changes you'll see once you get onto campus is our classrooms. Social distancing is perhaps one of the best strategies to minimizing infection. And so the desks are, they're distanced at least 6 feet apart from one another. And you also have, for right now at least, we have student dividers that will help break up the airflow on every single desk. So we also have you in the largest classrooms on campus, so there's lots of space. We've done things like upgrade our air ventilation. Each of the enclosed classrooms has an additional air purifier. And we're going to try to circulate in outside air as much as possible. The air ventilation in our has already been changed to bring in outside air as much as possible. So that's one of the biggest strategies we can do. And the second biggest strategy is that for anybody who's stepped outside for the last 10 months, it can be clear to see is that we're all wearing masks. And that's going to be especially true inside our classrooms, inside our office. So whenever you step on campus, make sure that you have a mask. In fact, part of the screening process is you won't even be let on campus without a mask. So make sure you bring one, and bring a clean one. Those masks should be used only daily, and then you have to get rid of them. And plus, you guys don't want to be wearing old masks anyways. So in addition to those, we have a hygiene and cleaning protocol. So you'll be allowed to, and staff will be allowed to wash hands. We'll clean high touch areas up to 3 times a day. Every single teacher is in the middle of their vaccination cycle. So we've all been vaccinated once, so we're at 50% immunity, and then we're going to get a second one within a couple of weeks. And then the last thing to really talk about is what happens when when you're feeling under the weather and when you're feeling sick and you're already on campus. Just know that we'll have to send you home immediately. We'll have to call parents up and grab you. It's not one of those things where you just power through. We gotta make, you guys are just as much a part of the solution as everybody else. Let's get you off campus and make sure that that number one, you're not infected, and then if you are, then how we're going to communicate to the rest of your classroom and to your parents that there has been an infection. Shut it down for a little bit, go back to distance learning before we can open back up. Ms. Sanders, anything in there that, yeah, Ms. Sipperly?
There was a question about if a student doesn't have a phone, a parent can check them in on their phone, correct?
Yeah, so a parent can do it, and they can even do it before they leave, right? So it doesn't have to be right before you enter campus. So anytime that morning, after midnight, anytime after midnight will be good for that day and for the entirety of the day. And worst case scenario, then we can have a staff person do it on their phone for you as they go through the questions.
I also just wanted to point out too that we are a small school, so we need to take care of each other here, and it puts us in an advantage because we can work together, we care about one another, we know each other, we're really in tune with our students, you guys know us, so please communicate with us, reach out to us. That's something that's really unique about us. And although every school is doing this differently, everybody has their own way, we just really want to be intentional about our school and what works for us. And so we just really need to think about that. This is a community and we need to take care of each other. So that also means taking care of yourself. So if you're not feeling well, and I know some of you are like, I gotta get to school, and we appreciate that. At the same time, I want you to be thinking about other people too and how we can keep each other safe and healthy. And so if you aren't feeling well, just to make sure you're being honest about that and taking care of yourself. We would much rather you be safe and healthy and keeping the rest of the community safe and healthy as much as possible. We know things come up, and so if you're in the middle of the day and all of a sudden you're like, I don't feel well, that's really important to let us know, communicate with us. So we're all working together to keep our school open, right? And so we don't want to have to shut down again because it does affect everybody. So it's just really important.
There was a question about arrival to school, and that's a great question. It really does depend on when, which grouping you're going to you're going to be involved with. Most likely we're starting if you're starting at 9:20, for example, for the small group instruction, then you'll want to get there 20 minutes beforehand. That's when we'll open up the doors and you can start filtering into the classroom. So 20 minutes before school starts is when we'll open up campus. When we move to hybrid, then it's an 8:20 start. So it's much more like our traditional school hours. And then we'll open up the doors at 8 o'clock.
And so this slide's just talking a little bit about why we decided to do the hybrid model, and we have a 4-week model. So it's still Monday is going to be virtual, and you have your advisory on Monday virtually. And then, that allows teachers the time to, upload their assignments on Google Classroom. So all of that is the same as far as Google Classroom goes. The biggest difference is there's just people in the classroom, right, with the teacher. And again, some people will still be able to choose that learning option, but just know you'll be watching the teacher in the classroom. And then we'll be doing the best we can to continue with, group work and different things like that. Maybe the people on distance learning will all be working together while the people in the classroom will be put into different, socially distant groups, but you know, we're still maintaining that format and that model, but yet with the decreasing amount of students on campus at a time, so it limits the exposure, and yet we're still able to have that in-person communication, that physical learning. So this is just the parent survey. Again, this was sent out. Maybe we'll send it out again because it's now fresh in your mind. But if you already completed the survey, then before the 23rd, then please just fill out this one. This one's just asking about the AM PM option and which one you would prefer. The one on the left, though, the parent guardian survey, this is the one that if you haven't filled it out, just start there. The question's on there now, so you just need to fill out that one survey. And then the student survey is here too. So we want to know how our students are doing, but also want to know what model you prefer and things like that. So please make sure you fill out that survey. And then if you really want like more details about how this all works and all the moving parts, then you can also click on this PDF plan. And if you want to read through it on your own, this has more details about the plan and more specifics with check-in and expectations and things like that. So that's pretty much it. And we really want to make sure that, you know, the relationships of our students, it's the most important thing. And this is a way for us to maintain that, you guys having your friend, your cohort, your peers around you, and also that relationship with your teacher. I know the teachers are also looking forward to seeing your faces and not just seeing black boxes. It really does change the classroom culture and the environment. So that interaction is something that we all thrive on. So we're really looking forward to those different, like I was saying earlier to one of my coworkers, is just like those like off camera times, you know, when we're just laughing, or there's a joke that comes up, or there's a song that somebody's playing, or like all those different things that help us get to know each other and build community. We're looking forward to those like small moments that we're not really able to have now, right? And so we really do hope that you consider coming back onto campus. I know some of you have done really well with distance learning, and that's great. And yet I know some of you are really wanting to come back onto campus too, but we do hope that you consider that as an option. And again, as you can see, it's just the morning, or it's just a few hours on campus a day, but I really think it'd make a significant impact on your presence in a high school environment. I know there's some questions about this, so I'm gonna stop my share right now and then we can take some questions. I see some hands popping up. Is that Ben? Ben have a question? No? Laura, can you help me? I thought I saw a couple hands there.
So there's a question actually that was sent to me about students still wanting to do only distance learning.
Yes, so you can choose to do distance learning, and it would be pretty much similar to what it is now, except for you'd be looking at a camera with the teacher teaching to a classroom of students. So that would be the difference. And again, like if you are interested in that, we want you to let us know so that we can get you onto campus. If that's something that you're still, you know, unsure of, we understand that as well. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of different concerns that people have, or schedule changes or things like that. And so just let us know so we can help accommodate you. But we really want you to have an option of your learning format. And this is a way for us to do that because we know some of you really want to get back in the classroom.
There was another question about an opportunity for socially distanced socializing. I don't know if you want to touch on that a little.
So part of that is the club format. That's something that we're able to do on campus. We are also, for those people that are seniors, went to the senior groups and meetings and stuff, we are definitely planning ahead for senior events. We haven't had any other event planning yet, just because this is a slow rollout. And you know, at this point, as of today, we aren't able to offer the hybrid group on campus learning as of right now, right? So we're just being hopeful that the trends will continue to go down, because we're able to do the small group as of today, but not the hybrid. So we are projecting into the future. That's why it's April 12th. We're hoping that by that time, the county does allow us to do more hybrid in person. So we can't really be making the big events because that's still not an option technically for the county.
Another question is what the max number of students per small group is.
14 students and 2 teachers. And like I said, it's just really important that for those students that commit. So if a student doesn't show up to a cohort and isn't showing up on time, it's kind of like, it's not a priority for them. As we've seen, being on campus right now is really a privilege. And so for those people that aren't really taking it seriously or not showing up on time, not being consistent, we might end up offering that spot to another student that is willing to show up every day and be consistent. So that's what I'm saying. If you've already been invited to one of these small group cohorts and you've accepted, please make sure that that's a priority for you, because it is a privilege being on campus and being in, with your teacher and other students.
Hello. I'm sorry. I was a little late. I was coming out of another Zoom. This is Amaya's mom, Janine. Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you guys. My question is, are you guys doing the whole 5 days on campus, or you may have spoke on this already, or is it certain days out of the week, or
So
what
for
is
the
it? I'm
For
sorry.
for phase 1.5, we're in phase 1 right now, just distance learning. For phase 1.5, which is the select small group, those students are just coming on campus for a couple hours a week, and it depends on the group. So the freshmen, for example, are coming onto campus for 2 hours, 2 days a week, where some other groups maybe just be coming onto campus for 2 hours, 1 day a week, depending on the group. When we move to the hybrid in person, that would be 4 days a week. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And that way Monday still would maintain the autonomous learning. You guys are home, you're able to get your work done on your own. You have advisory, some office hours and things like that. But when we do switch to hybrid learning, it's gonna be just the virtual on Monday, and then Tuesday through Friday, either AM or PM cohort. And at that time, when we switch to hybrid, the office hours will change too, because teachers will be on campus during that time. So that's something that we'll let you guys know that time. We have some options.
A question from a parent is, will students need to take a COVID test prior to coming back to campus?
James, you want to take this one?
Yeah, so COVID testing is not necessary for students and staff. One of the things that has been discussed quite frequently is that even if you test them once, it doesn't matter. Those are only valid for a couple of days, and then if you really needed to be on top of everything, and you'd have to basically test every 3 days. So we are not doing testing in case you missed it, though. All teachers have gotten their first round of vaccination, and our second round of vaccinations are scheduled for another couple of weeks.
Vanessa, do you have a question?
I have a question. Where do we find the survey for voting, AM or PM?
Oh, Ms. Laura, will you send that out to the students again and parents?
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat too. It's on our website. They can access it through there.
And Vanessa, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering, what does the learning look like for the kids once they go home? For their second half of their day? Like, are they zooming in to the class that's happening, or is it just all school, just working on stuff from the classes during the day?
Great question. Yeah. So so they'll be on campus getting the instruction, and then the autonomous learning would be like the other part of the day, right? So I could put that schedule up again, but you'll see the classes swap. So they have their first 3 classes of, wait, hold on, let me put it up. They have their first 2 classes of the day, and then it switches. So they would go home and do the work from that day. Let me see.
I'll just add in that the requirement to do work in classroom and outside of classroom is actually exactly the same. That part hasn't switched just when we go into hybrid learning. It's when we're able to bring everybody back on campus at once, which doesn't appear to be a possibility this year with the way the policymakers are making it seem. That's the time when we can start ramping down some of the asynchronous home learning. And so you can also see, like, if
if you know, I was in the AM group, I would go to campus from block 1, 2, 3, and then I would have my lunch, and then I could go home and then work on the work that I learned about that day, or also getting ready for the next school day, right? So, and you could see that it's blocks 1, 2, 3 on Tuesday and Thursday, and then 4 through 6. So it's very similar to the schedule that we have now in that way, that the classes, it's every other day. And so they would have the afternoon time if you're in the AM group to get that autonomous learning done. And then the students would also have Monday to get some of that work done as well. Any other questions? Great questions, y'all. Thank you so much. I think a really big part of this, and something that I believe in, is just communicating. You communicating with us communicating with you about these changes, and hopefully that you get a sense that we are trying to do that as much as possible and just keep everybody in the loop about what's happening. And if something needs to change along the way, that we're just, that you're just tuned into what's going on. Reach out if you have any questions. Follow us on Instagram. That's where we put a lot of the updates. If you don't have social media, you can also just go to our website, and the updates from Instagram are on there. So you could see that as well. You don't have to have an Instagram account in order to see what that is. But feel free to reach out to us. Also, Parent Square, we're always sending out messages to you all. Hopefully it's not too much, but at the same time, it's that balance of giving you all the information up front, and so nobody's making things up and has questions, lingering questions. Any other questions on this? Okay, so just a reminder to right now the office hours. So please, students, utilize those office hours with your teachers. Sometimes the students are saying like, "Oh, I didn't understand it, so I didn't do it." And I'm like, "Well, did you go to office hours?" "Oh, no, I didn't." So that's a really good time. It's like having a personal tutor, but it's actually your teacher, to sit down and answer your questions and to help you out to get through different things. So please make sure you're using that time. Just another reminder again. Whoa. That we have our grade extension. It ends today. And so, so making sure that all that work is turned in, and you let your teachers know if you submitted stuff, because those grades will be changed tomorrow, and that will be the final grade for the first semester. Okay. All right, next thing, wanted to highlight our students that are just still rocking it and turning in their work and getting things done. And so these are students that have 3 or more grades of 85 to 100. They're in good attendance standing, and they have no NYs. And if you guys remember, NY means not yet. So that means that you haven't passed the class yet. If you end the semester with an NY, that means you receive 0 credit for that class. And so we want to stay clear of any NYs. And so these are the students that really are keeping those grades up, are really focused, engaged in their class. And all the students with the star are students that have all A's. So it's a pretty good list here of the students that are really keeping it up. I just want to shout out to them. And then also stay tuned for another gift card coming your way in your email. If you guys haven't checked your email from the last month and you got a gift card then, from our award ceremony, make sure that you check those, because they do expire. And so you need to make sure that you're checking your inbox, your email, your school email, and making sure that you're using that gift card within the allotted time. And there's multiple reminders that get sent out to remind you to use it, but if you don't use it in the allotted time, they do expire. So just want to remind you. So congratulations to all these students. We're very proud of you. And there we go. All right. Let's see if there's anything else here.
There's a note about the parent survey. It looks like it might be the wrong one. That's linked.
The student survey link was in the chat, but there's a parent asking for the parent survey link.
Oh,
to be put in the chat.
Laura, you're.
Sorry, I'll repost it. It's in there, but it got hidden above the student one.
So please, again, submit that information. We really do want to hear from you. And if you have any questions, we're just a phone call or an email away. Reach out to us. And we're very happy that you're here. This is a really well-attended meeting. And so I'm glad that you guys are all here getting the information that you need for the reopening. Any other questions or any other thing else, Mr. McGrath? Any other announcements? No. Any teachers have any announcements? So as we move into, you know, the middle of our almost the middle of our second semester, just making sure that you're maintaining your attendance. It's really important, if you are not able to make it to a class, that you still continue to reach out to us and let us know, and also submitting your assignments. So although we're, you know, changing the grades from the first semester right now, we are pretty much well into our second semester at this point, and it's really important that you guys are keeping those grades up for the second semester. Okay. I think that's pretty much. Oh, Miss McKenna, you had something.
Yeah, real quick. I just wanted to give a special shout out to some seniors who received some college acceptance letters and updated me over the weekend. So special shout out to Kesley, who received 3 college acceptance letters over the weekend, 1 including a scholarship. And then also Ariana received an acceptance letter to Cal State Northridge, as well as Rebecca received another acceptance letter to Cal State Long Beach. So congratulations to you 3. Those are like the best messages ever that I get. So can't wait to celebrate with you in person soon.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. And if there's nothing else, then that's all I have for today. And we'll do virtual awards at our next community meeting. We just really want to make sure that everybody was clear on these different phases and the plan. So yeah, thank you so much for attending, and we will see you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.